Well, hey there, and welcome back to Heimler's History. Now, in this video, we're continuing to
Well, hey there, and welcome back to Asian Heimler's History. Now, in this video, we'll begin Unit 276 of the AP US History curriculum, and the time period we will be considering is 1820 to 1870. And more to the point, in this video, we will be trying to explain the long-term effects of the Industrial Revolution on today's current climate change problems and the current energy crisis. More specifically about today's resource shortages and greenhouse gas emissions. So, if you're ready to get those brain cows milked, let's get to it. The Industrial Revolution in America began around 1820 and marked a shift in the American economy. Prior to industrialization, Americans made things either to use themselves or to be sold locally, at most regionally in a process most well known as subsistence farming. This would come to change as mass production and consumption would begin to take over the once agriculture-based economy by storm. The Industrial Revolution shifted America from an agrarian economy to a manufacturing-based economy, where products were no longer made solely by hand, but by machines. This led to increased production and efficiency, lower prices, more goods, improved wages, and migration from rural areas to urban areas. The railroad system was the largest factor in what allowed this to happen, as the entire country was now more interconnected than it had ever been before, especially through the 4 transcontinental railroads that crossed the entire country from coast to coast, that connected the largest eastern and western population centers. Additional technologies such as the steam engine, cotton gin, telegram, industrial farming equipment, the light bulb, and much more increased the quality of living for many Americans, while also connecting America to international markets. And even though during the time there was a growing middle class that could enjoy the benefits of this new development, there was also a growing separation between the upper and lower classes. These new industries allowed massive corporations to sprout up and monopolize entire sectors of the economy, such as Andrew Carnegie's control over the steel industry and Rockefeller's control over the oil industry. The system at the time that allowed this to happen was known as laissez-faire economics. Laissez-faire economics is an economy in which the government is extremely hands-off and simply lets things take their course. Now, was this what the country most needed at the time? Definitely not. But some politicians legitimately believed that was the best way to let the nation grow according to American principles, and others were simply paid off by people like Rockefeller in order to not pass any legislation.
So, you're not really going to pass that legislation, are you?
Okay. Additionally, beliefs and principles such as social Darwinism is what convinced people in the first place that this type of economy could work, as social Darwinism believes in survival of the fittest, so if a company beats its competitors, it was simply more fit for the job. During this time, factory jobs in urban centers took over as the largest source of occupations, and the poor conditions of these factories led to the start of labor unions. Long hours, inadequate remuneration, and minimal breaks became the norm, and child labor, the use of children in industry or business, became a significant issue.
Why do you not work harder?
No!
On top of that, living conditions became deplorable as urban resources were overwhelmed. Waste began to become an issue as well, as factories were dumping their waste into rivers and streams, contaminating local water supplies. Overall, the American Industrial Revolution led to modern capitalism as we know it today, and entirely changed the American economy, while also setting a precedent for the unfortunate things to come. Shifting to present day, we can now see the long-term effects of this massive industrial growth. Many are familiar with global warming, which refers to human-induced warming of the Earth system, more specifically, as CO2 and other air pollutants, greenhouse gases, collect in the atmosphere, they absorb sunlight and radiation and trap it. This is known as the greenhouse gas effect, and is a leading factor in the raising of Earth's surface temperatures. In recent times, temperatures are increasing by an enormous 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit per decade. Coming back to the root of the problem, we can see every aspect of greenhouse gases relating back to the industrial age. Transportation, accounting for 14% of emissions, can be associated with massive factory growth of vehicles due to the growing demand. Agriculture, the second highest contributor, accounts for 24% of emissions. As population skyrocketed throughout the 1900s and even up till today, food, houses, and land had to be increased in production tenfold. Similarly, electricity and heat production attributes 25% of greenhouse gases, which can be related back to supply and demand increases in household energy usage and a desire for heating. Finally, the most obvious connection back to the industrial age comes from the fact that 21% of emissions come from industry, as mentioned previously. Not only do these emissions affect the trapping of solar radiation, but they are directly correlated to increasing ocean temperatures. The ocean is a whole body of salt water that covers nearly 3/4 of the Earth. In fact, the ocean is the largest solar energy collector on Earth. This means that as we get hotter and hotter, the ocean is forced to absorb more and more radiation, which, as many have heard of, can affect fish populations and the bleaching of coral reefs. In addition, our oceans are also getting larger by the day due to the melting of ice at Earth's poles. Currently, we are losing 1.2 trillion tons of ice each year. In other words, our ice caps are reducing 9% each decade. As a result, not only is less fresh water now available to humans, but ocean sea levels are rising, which causes destructive erosion, agricultural soil contamination, and loss of habitat for fish, birds, and plants. In general, all of these destructive things that are happening to our Earth are directly proportional to industrial production, which has increased significantly during the 19th century. This understanding of the beginnings of our major climate problems in the past can help us come up with solutions for our problems today. When you look back at people's way of life prior to the Industrial Revolution, they had far fewer luxuries than what we have now, but they also wasted far less and were far more mindful of their resources. Currently, people aren't as mindful of simple things such as turning off a light or eating leftovers because it seems like there is an endless supply of these commodities, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Instead, people need to go back to the mindset of those farmers in the 1800s who would savor every bit of food they could get and make sure to utilize all resources that they have, as if we don't, we will find ourselves in a situation much worse than their own. As a top contributor to global warming, the United States has an obligation to help propel the world to a cleaner, safer, and more equitable future.
Tell me when you're done.
Just go. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's what you need to know about the AP US History curriculum. The Heimler Proviso says that you should get an A in your class and a 5 on your exam in May. And if that's something you want help with, then grab my ultimate review packet right here. Additionally, if this video helped you